Picking the right asset that will actually pump is the number one skill in crypto. Today, I will provide you with a full guide, with a full criteria on how to actually pick winning narratives and winning assets in winning narratives as well. This is the only skill that you actually require to have in the crypto market and consistently be making money in this market. Worst thing is being present, is actually being active in the market and underperform heavily just because of the fact that you are sitting in the wrong assets. Today, we will specifically solve this issue for you and answer this question once and for all. Make sure to watch this video till the end. This is probably one of the most important videos on the channel, and especially following the current market setup, the current timing is specifically important to pick the assets that will be performing strongly. How to buy crypto coins that go up. Criteria list. Follow the money, follow the performing narrative, understand market structure, understand what have a high chance of performance. This is a very important point. In order to outperform, you have to remove everything that leads to underperformance. It's a very simple point, but it's a very important one. In order not to be fat, you have to remove everything that makes you fat. This is the same type of logic. Pick winners in performing narrative as well. Point number one, follow the money. Narratives that performed thus far. Meme coins, AI, gaming, real world assets, etc. Follow the whales, follow the market makers, follow the funds, and follow the VCs and drop step as well. So something that market makers are focusing on specifically currently, I would want to show you several posts from DWF Labs, from Witribute as well. I will share some information from Godbit too. Short overview of the market. This is a tweet from May. Memes outperform everything. Memes games attract a most part of users. L1, L2 absorb a most part of the market cap because they have vesting, but it does not mean that they appreciate in price actually. Maybe they will, they probably will actually quite soon with ETH finally performing, right? Perps absorb the most part of users and volumes. In my opinion, in his opinion, spread 50% across them, max profit on the bull market, not financial advice. So he pretty much shared that you should be in memes, you should be in L1 and L2s and on leverage essentially for these assets as well, but essentially it's mostly memes and L1 and L2s. It's very interesting because these two categories, these two narratives, it's not something that like you probably came up with this cycle. These are the two best performing narratives of this cycle in crypto. This is just crazy. Of last cycle, I'm sorry, 2021 and 2017 as well. We're in talks with a few meme coins and willing to deploy a large amount of funds in order to let them grow fast and efficient. Stay tuned, more news coming. This is just to show you that market makers are refocusing, and they refocused quite early because Godbit essentially, they started the Solana meme season back with Bonk and back like with the whole situation out there. And CEO of Godbit, he's showing currently that crypto does not need new technology at this stage. It's like this pure community speculation type of thing currently, and the participants, they love the way that the market is set up currently, right? It does not need new technology. Last cycle, maybe it was like about technology and stuff. Currently, it's more about the speculation, about the narrative. It's more about trading, probably like investing and skill in the game as well. Well, we have 5 more memes in our portfolio with 200 million plus market cap. Looking for something hot like Politify, projects that could leverage the power of the following elections. PM or reach out to them. And this is just to show that they were acquiring memes. But this is not meme cycle. The cycle is also about real world assets, AI, layer 2s, Telegram mini apps, Ton Echo, Sol Echo, perpetual dexes, synthetic stable coins. There are a lot of opportunities. But Memecoin outperform all other narrative. Yes, fair point, but take a look at the success rate, which means meme coins that outperform everything divided by the total amount of meme coin launched. It's a very important point because we truly are in the situation where in the narrative that is the most performing one, it's crazy hard to actually pick the asset that will be able to steadily appreciate over time. And this is the most performing narrative, which means that the asset that you will be able to pick will have a very high chance to just steadily continue to outperform into the cycle as well, just because it's based in the most performing category, most performing narrative of the cycle as well. So if you see like some stable assets that are able to sustain certain market cap over time, this is pretty much a green light from there. Wintermute. So on the wallet, they have Nero, they have Kak, they have Pepe. They also market makers behind Apu. They also the market makers behind some other meme projects. And we could not even imagine in previous cycle that market maker like Wintermute would essentially be taking on projects like this. This is the pivot that happened in this cycle. And this is the pivot that you pretty much should have done with your portfolios back in winter as well. This was the best time to actually perform a pivot like this. So this is one part. If we want to follow the money, we can follow the market makers, we can follow what they are saying and what are they actually doing. We can also check out an article from Godbit hedge fund. Memes are driving the next wave of blockchain innovation. There are actually a bunch of reasons why they are doing that. I was talking about them in my previous video, so I would essentially leave that away for now. Second option. When we look at things like SUI out there in the marketplace, we can follow the money this way as well. And this is probably the strategy that most of the market is still using. Most of the market that are sitting in fundamental altcoins that don't want to invest in meme coins, or that unfortunately lost a bunch of money in meme coins, right? The process here is that they are pretty much just deriding the VCs, the venture capitalists, right? Because we can see that something like SUI fundraised $400 million. This is just one project. And this like VCs did these tier one funds that actually invested into SUI. There is no option that they do not plan to take the money out. 100% they do plan to take the money out, and they definitely do have the plans to pump this thing further into the cycle in order to have their ROI. Some people are saying that, well, they are dumping already. They only have like 5, 7, 10x's from like rounds of 2 to 3 years ago, and they are dumping already. I would say that this is a liquidity issue in the marketplace. I don't think that partially may be dumping, but they will stop once they will be persuaded. Additional liquidity is coming in heavy into the market, which means retail, which means the tourists that everyone unfortunately plans to actually dump on. This is the situation right here with them, and this is why certain people are essentially still betting on fundamental altcoins. It's not about this like fundamental part. Maybe the market will get exhausted of meme coins and things like that, but we have to understand exhaustion is not in like specific type of narrative. It's not like people won't get exhausted because these are meme coins and they don't have value. The only way people can get exhausted if they would actually stop making money with them. This is actually the direction, the way to get exhausted. If there will be too many racks, if nothing will get held and people will just trade and sell right away, this way people would essentially just stop focusing on memes and they will go somewhere else where can they money. But we will also talk about market structure. Market structure for alts unfortunately is rigged this cycle, and a lot of alts, most of alts this cycle, they are not the way for retail, for default retail buyers that are coming with $500, 1k, 5k, 7k to actually make money, unfortunately, in this cycle. So we will actually talk about this, we will figure out the situation as well, and I will share specific data explaining why the market structure is rigged and why alts probably have a higher chance to underperform this cycle. Make sure to watch this video till the end in order to grasp this information. So the default strategy is essentially just follow the money. You have to stay in the wave of the money in order to make money, and like kind of the safest thing is probably stay in the way of VCs. They invested the funds. Well, they've been dumping on us for quite some time. Eventually, they will probably want to have a high multipliers and they will want to use the bull run, and they would pump the assets as well. This is what we have to think on in order to be able to hold, in order to go through the current situation as well. And this is highly likely that will be something that will be happening as well. Moving further, follow the performing narrative. Market already gave us winning category of assets that are highly likely to perform moving further. Those the specific assets might change. The category will highly likely to continue to outperform everything else. This is exactly what happened in the previous cycle and in 2019. Pre-bull market pump as well. This is a very, very important piece of alpha because a lot of people currently are saying that the current situation is very, very similar to 2019, pre-pump before the bull run. The only difference is that we had COVID right after that essentially dumped us quite nicely and quite heavily, right? This time we'll probably not have COVID, and this thing should essentially play out nicely, right? And the thing that I'm saying is that the assets that started to pump in 2019 in bull market pre-pump, those were the assets that continued to pump as well. It's very, very important. The market already gave you all the hints, the asset that people want to buy. It gave you all the hints already. It's important to elevate any bias you might have towards anything and look at data, understanding why the asset is going up, not neglecting it. Mid-curve. Most popular crypto narratives, market share of CoinGecko categories, web traffic 2024 Q2, meme coins. The second is real world assets. Quite actually interested that this is the second, all right? Artificial intelligence, 100% makes sense. Solana meme coins, it's pretty much the same, right? Solana ecosystem, I would say that Solana does not have anything except like meme coins, anything that popular at this stage. Maybe there are some utility plays you might want to get into, but mostly it's about meme coins at this stage. Base ecosystem, also meme coins, base meme coins, layer 1. So layer 1, AI, real world assets, and meme coins. I would say that these should be your 4 categories for this cycle. And actually it would be quite interesting to check out gaming as well. Gaming, they're sort of like meme coins as well. It's just that we have like several large influencers in the market, and right now the market is kind of numb to their preachings at this stage. But once we are at the higher levels, once people would have way more money, people just won't care. Like these gaming influencers, they will direct liquidity a certain way. People will understand that there is an opportunity there to make money there, and they will just go there, not giving a shit about the situation right there. And why I'm saying you should not be mid-curving the narrative, the category, just because of your like personal bias and stuff. Do not mid-curve meme coins. Yes, most people lost money there. Currently, we're still at very nice entry points, and I'm constantly sharing on this channel the list of proper long-term blue chip meme coins that you can actually be entering. If you want me to update the list of proper blue chip meme coins, let me know. I will take my time and I will create a separate video for you explaining why these are proper blue chip meme coins that you can actually be safely entering as a better place to the major assets, and essentially as a place to continue to perform into the cycle. Understand the market structure. Point number 3. Altcoins versus meme coins is a billion-dollar question this cycle. What will perform well? What will perform better? To clarify, are meme coins dead and will altcoins outperform? Will utility come back? I think it will, but it will heavily underperform meme coins on the market. And as a result of heavy underperformance of utility, there will be a capitulation from utility into meme coins. The exact same thing that happened in March, April, and essentially extended the meme season for quite some time. Reason for that, market structure is rigged. Usually people that are doing activities and buying assets are using the same strategies as they were using last cycle in expectation to make money are losing them. So if you are trying to make money this cycle the same way you were making money last cycle, most likely there is a higher chance you won't be able to do that because these strategies are abused too much. And this is why we have a bunch of people sitting in altcoins still, because previous cycles it was the way to make money. You were just buying altcoins, you were making money. Right now VCs rigged the game. Alts are coming at crazy valuations and you are pretty much just getting dumped on. And they're shorting at the same time, so they're making double the money on you. As last cycle money making strategies are abused too much already, we can even see it in this cycle as well. Farming meme coins bread-like. So with bread, they essentially have the situation where they controlled a bunch of supply and they were selling into the chart, into the volume, farming the meme coin. Some funds they were used to farm exchanges and stuff like marketing materials. Most funds they were probably just taken. After the success of bread, a bunch of meme coins out there started to do the same thing, which resulted in market becoming a bit numb to this type of meme coins. Because when you say that the whole supply is sniped, all you have to do is pray that the developer is rich and he does not want to rug you for 10k. And usually the developer of the meme coin wants to rug you for the 10k, right? Just buying altcoins and holding will cause heavy underperformance. Project founders decided to sell all the initial allocations to the VCs and insiders, inflating market cap and launching on the market with 2 billion, 3 billion or 4 billion valuations, large valuations, and they just dump from there, exactly as all of the projects that launch on Binance this cycle, which does not give an option for a retail person to make a lot of money on it. You need significant amount of capital to invest into them in order to capitalize. So even currently on altcoins, you might see that they're bottomed. In order to feel something from them, in order to essentially make money off them, you either have to enter with nice amount of money, 20, 50, 100k, 150 to 100k, and essentially not a lot of retail players that actually have this amount of money in order to be able to invest them into crypto coins. Or you have to play with leverage, where you can also lose this money. If these are all the money you have, you definitely do not want to do that, right? And no lot of people, like, it's not a common type of tool that like default retail player understands, like leverage and how to use leverage, right? There won't be success story with alts this cycle. No stories about Joe that invested $500 and got $3 million. There were success stories like this last cycle. I know a person who invested $250 into X Infinity, and at the top he had 5 million. And at the end he only was able to exit with 1 million still, but it's 1 million from $250 invested. Will there be success stories with alts like this cycle? I highly doubt that. With memes, there will, and they are already. It's that simple. This is the funnel. This is the business. And this business has a certain way to acquire customers. Customers are new people who are coming into the market and they're buying into certain assets. Each holder of each asset is the affiliate marketer for the asset. The better they market, the more people essentially come with the capital, buy the assets, and their asset that they're holding already are appreciating. The situation currently is that we won't have like a lot of die-hard holders for larger caps altcoin projects. These are mostly insiders or influencers that are pushing them with a soulless face as they're talking about them. They just don't care in the first place, right? Memes, it's totally different. We still have success stories, we have crazy stories of people making crazy money, people want to push the meme coins, they are fighting with different meme coin communities and things like that. This is something that's happening. And this is something that should be happening. And this is something that attracts a lot of people as well, attracts a lot of attention, and attention equals capital in the current market. Understand when have a higher chance of performance. In order to outperform, you have to remove everything that leads to underperformance. Very, very interesting thing. Reasons for underperformance. Holding tokens from previous cycle. Very small amount of tokens from previous cycle actually outperform new tokens. This is the unfortunate statistics that a very, very low amount of tokens from previous cycle actually outperform new tokens from the current cycle. Currently, I do think we only have Solana. Even Ethereum from previous cycle, it cannot outperform. Like Ethereum from current cycle still cannot outperform Ethereum from the previous cycle. And we had new tokens that are just printing new all-time highs, right? This is something you have to understand. A bunch of these coins, they have backholders. They will have people that will be selling at the core levels as well. New tokens always outperform old tokens. Holding tokens and getting dumped on by VCs, bad tokenomics. You have to understand the tokenomics of the project you are getting into as well. If the unlocks are just too heavy and you're pretty much just being led to the slaughterhouse, you need to have skills and abilities to understand these things as well and specifically understand what is happening. Holding tokens with no incentive for VCs founders to pump. FDV and market cap ratio. So this is a very, very interesting question because it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like from one point of view, we have these projects that are launching on the market with huge fully diluted valuation and they just constantly dump the vested supplies on people who are buying them from the market. On the other hand, we have projects, older like projects from the previous cycle, where market cap is equal to the fully diluted valuation, which means that there are no insiders that are still receiving the tokens in a vested way. But the issue with that is that because of it, there might be no party actually interested to manipulate the asset, to push the price higher. And this is the bunch of the assets of previous cycle as well. You have to understand this. So you have to understand them and you have to really think, is there an incentive for people behind the project to actually push it? Will the marketing dollars be effective at this stage? Or is it easier for them just to launch a new project and just push it to new all-time highs and have no backholders in the token as well? It's a very, very important thing. There is a very, very few amount of projects out there that actually worth pushing in the second cycle as well. Most of them, they are just dying out. Holding tokens with no incentive, I just said it already. Holding tokens of older narratives or of narratives that were not performing yet. Higher chance that they won't perform. Security, for example, we have narrative of security, no one cares, unfortunately. We definitely do have some narratives from the previous cycle that some people might be holding. One of the examples are NFTs. We had a small like NFT bull market on ordinals on BTC, right? But overall, they did not perform that well this cycle. I would say that meme coins are the evolution of NFTs and they just outperform heavily. You have to understand why, you have to understand the market structure. Picking winners in performing narratives. Hardest thing to do, picking winners in performing narratives. So let's say you figured out that you want to buy, you want to allocate your portfolio in the performing narratives of the cycle, meme coins, AI, gaming, RWA and L1 and L2s, right? But how to actually pick winners? Because even in these categories, due to the huge dilution in the marketplace, you have a bunch of potential choices out there, right? And in order to make money, you actually need to concentrate your capital. You need to do concentrated bet. Diversification is a scam. Diversification is a tool to pretty much save money, to save the capital. And if you are here on the market in order to acquire capital, in order to make capital, and most of us are on this market in order to acquire capital, you have to make concentrated bets, right? And you have to research on the bets that you've done. It will give you more conviction and it will also provide you with better decision making at each and every point of time as well. You have to understand the narrative very well, whether it's meme coins, AI, gaming, or anything else. In order to pick the winner, if you just spend like some time in the narrative, you check out different projects, you check out what was happening in the narrative, you try to understand why certain things were pumping and why certain things were not pumping, who are the bad players in the narrative, who are the good players in the narrative in terms of some influencers, in terms of some teams. It will already push you one level higher in comparison to everyone else on the market who's just coming as a new person, as a newbie into this narrative, right? You have to understand influencers and people within the narrative. Each category have them. This is a very, very nice thing because in some categories, in some narratives, you might have people that you know they won't drag you. And you can buy the asset safely. And if the market goes up, the asset will go up as well. One of the examples of them is Crash in memes. If you want to buy Bull, for example, on Tron currently, yeah, it might be of a higher market cap, but at least you would have conviction that this thing would highly likely to go up because Crash will do his thing, right? And this is like type of safety that you're honestly like not getting anywhere in crypto. It's almost like free money. It's a very, very interesting situation out there. If Crash like won't die, he probably won't because he's a young guy, right? It's a very, very interesting situation. You have to understand what people like in the narrative and what they will push with a higher likelihood. So this is essentially about understanding what are the assets that are getting appreciated in a certain narrative, because audiences of AI narrative, of like BTC ordinals, of meme coins, they might like different things. And different things might be pumping within the narrative. In general, it's mostly about market making. It's mostly about how well the team is delivering, but I will provide you with a specific criteria at the end of this video as well. These skills can only be acquired through spending a lot of time and money in a certain narrative. Usually, when you want to become an expert in the narrative and really start making money in the narrative, oftentimes it requires a tuition fee, especially if you're not coming into the narrative at the bottoms, right? You should always be coming into the narratives at the bottom. So one of the most profitable things in crypto is actually being right with a certain narrative, a certain category, either coming back or pumping up the first time into the market, and this is where you are making a bunch of money. This is thing in order to actually do that is to miss the wave one, right? So we already missed the wave one of meme coins. We are kind of at the bottoms. We are recovering back from the bottoms. The best thing to enter is to enter currently, because you know that this narrative already performed. It has a higher chance in comparison to other narratives to continue to perform as well. And winning assets, you can already see them on the marketplace. They already showed themselves already. So this is a very, very nice situation currently because market showed you. So you're not getting the best prices out there, but you're also getting a lower chance to actually get rocked in the marketplace currently. You need to become very good at estimating assets in your narrative of choice and acting accordingly. Estimating, I mean putting a certain speculative value on the asset. Research and getting to know additional alpha about holders, on-chain and social analysts, talking to a team if possible are core tools here, as they will clarify the estimate you conduct. The more research you do, the better the speculative value that you can put on the project, the better essentially it would be as well. Solid criteria, great community, very, very important. I do think that this is one of the reasons of why meme coins actually performed that well. Most important thing for people to actually be able to feel themselves as a community is number go up. They need to feel that they're making money together. This is something that unfortunately you do not experience a lot in altcoins, or in altcoins people are not really interested in being a community. You just need too much funds, and like these people with too much funds, they probably like don't spend time to actually like being part of community and things like that. Like they are not there, right? This is a very, very important thing. People supporting it with good track record. And I do think this is one of the reasons about the community why meme coins outperformed NFTs and are essentially evolution of NFTs, because in NFTs, the community is capped by the number of NFTs. In meme coins, anyone can become a community member, right? People surrounding it with good track record. I'm talking about influencers, I'm talking about founders, about team. So if you have good people around the project, it definitely puts a certain quality mark on the project as well. Solid narrative, something that is hyping currently and something that you understand will probably be getting additional attention in the future. That's very, very important. Solid narrative. Narrative should be good in order for this thing to continue to acquire attention. Attention in this market means capital, means liquidity. Future liquidity inflows. It's connected with the narrative as well. Future liquidity inflows. Maybe the token is connected to like exchange ecosystem and a bunch of people will be onboarded into exchange. Maybe there will be some airdrops coming. Maybe the technology is revolutionary and actually is paying 100% of fees back to developers. coins, and there will be more and more developers in the ecosystem, and the whole thing will get appreciated more and more, because it will be attracting top talent, because they are getting conditions that they're not getting anywhere else, right? So you have to understand these things in order to actually be able to capitalize heavily on the narrative. For example, if you're buying into Memecoin and you understand that like speculative value of this Memecoin is $100 million market cap, for example, right? So you would understand that additional liquidity inflows probably will be coming with listings on larger exchanges, right? This is something that might be coming over time, because if the Memecoin will be reaching this market cap, it's highly likely it will be listed on larger exchanges, right? Positioned in the performing narrative, as mentioned already, solid criteria for picking proper assets is positioned in proper narrative, and there might be narratives within the narrative as well. In meme coins, they're called metas, and often they are not that long term, right? But still, like in AI, maybe like it's something connected to NVIDIA, and NVIDIA is pumping, and it's also about like GPU. It's like narrative within the narrative, and you do understand that it has kind of like this connection to stock market, and that's why it actually has higher longevity as well. Like in gaming, for example, like you are buying into a game that has the similar game in Web 2 world, and it's very popular. So you understand that like it's a narrative in connection with the narrative to your thing as well. Team constantly delivering. So this is a very important thing, both in fundamental things and meme coins. I would say that it's even more important in fundamental projects as well. And that's probably one of the reasons of why meme coins are actually outperforming them, because they definitely require a bit less delivery, if you want to say that. At the same time, there are a lot of things happening with marketing, with market making, things like that, but they definitely do require a little bit less delivery in the process, especially if you can manipulate and control the chart yourself through controlling most of the supply, right? With fundamental projects, the issue, I think, why meme coins essentially started to outperform fundamental projects is because fundamental projects, in order to pump them, they require delivery of technical components. And in software development, there are often certain delays. Things are not going the way that you planned them to go. You're losing money on marketing because something is not done yet and you need to wait. You have some problems with the engineers. By the way, if you have some problems in the engineers, you know, you should contact me. I will solve your problems with software engineers, right? And essentially, I do think that transition from meme coins, the transition from altcoins to meme coins went this way because marketers and market makers, they want to remove this software part from the equation, because it's essentially just another complexity that you kind of had to have before to persuade people to hold. Right now, people are fine with the assets just being meme coins. And it's easier because you can specifically focus on marketing and on market making, so you can excel in the skills that you want to excel in, and therefore you can essentially just focus on these things and push the projects higher. Relative strengths to the majors, this is something that you would want to check out on the charts and see how does your coin performing in comparison to the major assets out there. Some of the meme coins out there, they have most of the supply controlled, and market makers are specifically printing the chart that is very close to the movement of the major asset. That's done on purpose to essentially lure you into this meme coin and persuade you that this is really what's happening, but in reality it's just being printed with a treasury that they have because they dumped certain funds on the tops themselves, they sold, right? And they're just printing the chart in order to persuade you and to lure you in. This is the mid-curve type of view on these type of coins. At the same time, if you want to right curve this, you might say, oh, if I got a victim of this treachery, of this lie in the first place, probably a lot more people in the future will also become the victims of this thing. Therefore, they will serve as my exit liquidity. Therefore, I might have a chance to enter these assets as well. Core alpha. Assessment over aforementioned criteria should be happening over the course of several days. This is especially important with meme coins, essentially with any assets, because often you want to enter on like some type of FOMO, and certain criteria from this list, you will only be able to assess them over the course of the several days. Like community, for example, if everything is pumping, if the project is pumping, any community will be very great and nice and things like that. It's important to see what the community is doing when the project is correcting, right? And you won't be able to see it intraday. It will heavily increase the success chance if you would essentially assess these criteria over the course of several days. This is it from my end. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Bye bye.